This is Calicat, the Calicatster, and this is a review of Star Trek Discovery's penultimate episode this season. This is the one before the last one. Penultimate. Lagrange Point. Yeah. So the Dreadnought, the Maul's Dreadnought, she took over the Breen ship in the last one, which doesn't make any sense. The Discovery and crew are hiding cloaked, and they warped into a near singularity, a couple of primordial black holes. There's no Lagrange point in the story, unless they're referring to the area. They just thought, oh, that's a cool science fiction-y sounding word, because the WST is, Lagrange point, which means that, so if there's an orbit around a planet, like the Earth's orbit, the Lagrange points are between the Earth and the Earth and its other orbits is that's like a Lagrange point. So you have like a circle, the orbit, or the ellipse of the orbit, and there are points along the orbit that would be in resonance with the planet's orbit, and you could put something out there and it would stay out there in space. What they're talking about in this, though, is primordial black holes and event horizons, which are completely different. They could escape a primordial black hole because it technically wouldn't be that big. But yeah, they could just fly around it. And the gravity well wouldn't affect them unless they were right on top of it, because a primordial black hole would be really tiny. They showed them being roughly the size, a little bigger than the ship, 3 times bigger than the ship, which is kind of weird. It wouldn't be, but yeah, sure, why not? Just not sure where in the galaxy that would be. Okay. So yeah, just how the science of it. But then they burn them and book and Adira and the Asian guy who they're trying to develop in the story as a character, but it's too late. How they all go over to the Breen ship. Adira is gonna hack the computer, and the Asian guy, I forget what his name is, but he's the one that likes starships. We have the commander guy doing a cat and mouse thing. Jonathan Frakes directed the episode, so it's actually the dialogue is a bit better. Usually when he directs these episodes, and episodes of the other show as well, the dialogue is better. I think because he knows how to direct them. And he's like, okay, even though this line doesn't make roughly any sense, maybe he's like rewriting it on the fly. Like, okay, this line will sound better if you just say it like you actually mean it. Yeah. They're setting it up so you're supposed to like miss the characters. I suspect they're gonna kill Adira and Saru and the Vulcan lady in the next the final episode. I suspect they're gonna do that just because that's kind of a dick thing they would do. They hadn't done it in this one, but they keep implying, oh, he's gonna take his shuttle out and whatever. They have literally another hour left, so there's no way all that stuff can go together in that. Yeah, there's another hour left. There's inside the progenitor's cylinder from 800 years earlier, which would put it in the late 2390s, early 2400s. That cylinder thing has a wormhole to the other dimension. I kept thinking it would be funny if Holocat from Cillian's Face just showed up on the bridge and said, I'm going to fail because I'm Q, or was sent by Q to help you. But no, they didn't get that silly. So I'm surprised they didn't, because Jonathan Frakes directed, and they didn't do that. So they go aboard the ship disguised as Breen, and they get away with yelling at them and stuff, and doing other things, and Booker pretends to flirt with one of them. And yeah, the yelling at them thing is a classic Next Generation move, similar to when Riker was on the Klingon ship with Jonathan Frakes, so he remembers that one. And so you have, there's no need to overanalyze this episode. It's an action episode, but yeah, you can tell what they're setting up, and if they cop out and don't do that, then the setup, the payoff is kind of lame. They're at another part of the universe that it's gonna be lame. Maybe now Burnham's gonna arrive having gone into the warp. They do the old blast open the shuttle bay thing, and then we'll go in and fly in and get them thing. which they did as far back as Star Trek V. So yeah. Um, they should have called it the Sulu maneuver, I think. Yeah, they should have paid homage to that. Said, we're going to do the Sulu maneuver. Fly the ship into the shuttle bay. Because it's a big shuttle bay. A big dreadnought shuttle bay. Why would the progenitors hide the tech near the black holes where it would be really scientifically obvious? That being really rare, that there'd be two primordial black holes together, and that would, like, draw every, like, alien scientist to that area just to have a look at it. No, you put it somewhere where nobody would ever think to look. It's kind of silly that they would do that. They were thinking, oh, this will be cool. It'll be like the Lagrange point between the two black holes. No, that's not the Lagrange point. That's not what it is. There wouldn't be a Lagrange point with a black hole because all points in the black hole event horizon go all the way around, and the Hawking radiation would come out. And yeah, you event horizon, the mathematical construct, you wouldn't. It wouldn't have Lagrange points because it's not orbiting anything. It's itself a black hole. It's not orbiting. I guess it's orbiting another black hole, but the Lagrange point between those two would be impossible. The sheer forces of that would just rip the ship apart, which they kind of did in the episode. But yeah, they need. Yeah, it's silly Trek. So we forgive them for being silly Trek because it clearly is. Lower Decks is too. Stranger Worlds is too. And yeah, they should just Paramount should just hire us to write for Star Trek. They should abandon Section 31, even though I think they've started filming it. They should abandon Starfleet Academy because they're going to make it set in this universe in the 32nd century, and no one really. Only the diehard. There are a few, I guess, diehard Discovery fans might care about that, but no, you want to set a Starfleet Academy story either in the Lost Era, the 78 years between the original Trek and Next Generation, between 2393 and 2364, or you set it in the post-Picard era, in 24 something, and have it be Picard era, or do a Starfleet Academy movie for TV and get it out of your systems, because you kind of already did that with Star Trek '09. Making Kirk and crew, they were barely out of the academy, and we're captains on a ship. All of a sudden, an I bridge, and a Mac bridge, and all that. Yeah, and they somehow had seen our fan films with the tossing the apple and put it in the movie, even though it wasn't online yet. Well, there was a version of there was a channel, so they got a hold of. That's right, they did get a hold of an early version of Starcrackers, and they must have watched it. Well, yeah, they must have. That channel was blocked. Then it was gone. It was the one of the channels. The legacy channels are still there, and so yeah, you have an odd show. There's another week, and then there's the finale, and yeah, it's still an odd duck. It's still weird. I see why Steve Shives wouldn't want to handle it, although I think his friend would enjoy it, handling it. The one of the YouTubers. I should explain that. Yeah. I'll explain who it is you're talking about, just to make it official. Yeah, so it's, Lagrange Point. Yeah. If this is where the story's ending up, they're kind of setting it up for like 5 more episodes, but they probably won't. I think this is the penultimate one. And what they're finding is, although some of the fans were predicting, is it just going to be like a message in a bottle thing like The End of the Chase, which they're making a sequel to here. I don't think so at this point. I think it's going to be something weird and Q-like and stuff. I still think there's going to be some sort of William Shatner cameo in there somewhere, the future guy or something, which would be fun. But maybe not. Maybe that's going to be an Academy one. Or the Section 31 one. It'd probably be better than Section 31 with Shatner having a cameo. Yeah. But yeah. But maybe not. I'm just saying that would be an idea they could, just to be dicks. Yeah. And apparently, in the news, France TV has apparently several months ago released the Star Trek Discovery season 2, and they shouldn't have, and it's all in French. Parlez-vous français? But yes, I am not going to review it. I couldn't get on, actually. That's why. I ended France. Yeah, I kept saying warnings like, "Oh yeah, you're in America. You can't look at that." So yeah, I couldn't look at it. I'm assuming Netflix will soon show it. I'm not sure how they got a hold of it early. Even the producers are not sure how they got a hold of it early. The next thing is that one. And Stranger Worlds is still in production, and the next one is later on is Star Trek Lower Decks, season 5, final season. Yeah, I can see why they did that. It did what it was set out to do, so it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, they want to end that before the 2385 timeline goes into the tangent. And they have the synth war. They want to end it before that, so that doesn't happen. But it's kind of its own timeline anyway. I mean, they kind of proved that with the Strange New Worlds crossover. Even our fan films are not canon with each other, really, if you think about it. Although apparently the people doing Picard season 2 and 3 were aware of the timeline conundrum and fixed that in season 3. That was interesting. Just said, oh, it's Federation Day, it's 2401, because the fans were talking about it. And yeah, I was one of them. Yeah, Picard show should have started in 2296, not 99, and that would have lined up, but it didn't, because they messed up. Yeah. Yeah, but also the Odyssey class starships in that, including the Enterprise F, shouldn't have existed yet either for another decade or more. They shouldn't have existed in the 2280s, so that does screw that up. The game goes on its own tangent, and there's another timeline where other stuff goes on a tangent, which we don't need to go into because it wasn't us. Yeah, so now they're on the set of another Robotech Transformers crossover, and not doing Star Trek currently. Anyway, so that is the review right now of Lagrange Point. I think a better title would have been Bursting Point or Breaking Point, because that would have been a little more on the nose, or Point of No Return. The Rubicon. Rubicon is always a good title. Point of No Return, referring to the river Rubicon and the Visigoths going over the fourth hill across the Rubicon, the point of no return, as they later called it. And the Roman Empire was about to fall. From that episode of the Borg meeting the Federation. From Best of Both Worlds, I believe, the second. As Guinan said, this is the end of history. Picard said, this is the end of history. And then she's all, yeah. So anyway, no, it's not. Okay. Yeah. I don't need to ramble on about this episode. Go and watch it. Penultimate episode of Discovery. It's fine, I guess. These are all shorter seasons nowadays. Back in the day, Star Trek used to be 26 episodes a season. Next Gen and DS9 and the Classic Trek. Quite a bit longer too back then. Actually, the TNG episodes were kind of shorter because they had more commercials. They were like 42, 43 minutes. These are 47, 48 generally, similar to the Classic Trek. But yeah, the seasons. There's been 5 seasons of Discovery, and really technically, in terms of stories, they've only really done 3.5 because it's 10 episodes a season. 3.5. The Stranger Worlds has done 2 seasons over. So yeah, they've done really 1 season of Next Generation. So yeah, Lower Decks, same deal, but half an hour. Lower Decks is much shorter. So is Prodigy. They could fit all of Prodigy on one. Yeah. So yeah, and then the sequel. Yeah. There you go.